Admission of lawyers. Ghazal Atayan.
May it please the Court, I move that Ghazal Atayan be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Ghazal Atayan be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Nicholas Andrew Bowser.
May it please the Court, I move that Nicholas Andrew Bowser be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Nicholas Andrew Bowser be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Peter Zoe Banbas.
May it please the Court, I move that Peter Zoe Banbas be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Peter Zoe Banbas be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Rachel Louise Bolte.
May it please the Court, I move that Rachel Louise Bolte be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Rachel Louise Bolte be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Brianna Jade Burns.
May it please the Court, I move that Brianna Jade Burns be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Brianna Jade Burns be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Isabella Lauren Carl.
May it please the Court, I move that Isabella Lauren Carl be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Isabella Lauren Carl be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Sri Sui Chen.
May it please the Court, I move that Sri Sui Yi Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Sri Sui Yi Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Su Young Cho.
May it please the Court, I move that Su Young Cho be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Su Young Cho be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Annalise Katharina Cooper.
May it please the Court, I move that Annalise Katarina Cooper be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Annalise Katarina Cooper be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Danielle Creary.
May it please the Court, I move that Danielle Creary be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Danielle Creary be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Laura Georgia Coutinho Dargan.
May it please the Court, I move that Laura Georgia Coutinho Dargan be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Laura Georgia Coutinho Dargan be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Francis Caesar Devine.
May it please the Court, I move that Francis Caesar Devine be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Francis Caesar Devine be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Brianna Kate Elul.
May it please the Court, I move that Brianna Kate Elul be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Brianna Kate Elul be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Jade Federa.
May it please the Court, I move that Jade Federa be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Jade Federa be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
James Morris Friedman.
May it please the Court, I move that James Morris Friedman be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That James Morris Friedman be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Zara Uranus Haderi.
May it please the Court, I move that Zara Uranus Haderi be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Zara Uranus Haderi be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Zayed Hamdan El Mahdi.
May it please the Court, I move that Zaid Hamdan El Mahdi be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Zaid Hamdan El Mahdi be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Matthew John Harris.
May it please the Court, I move that Matthew John Harris be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Matthew John Harris be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Claire Chiwei Ho.
May it please the Court, I move that Claire Chiwei Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Claire Chiwei Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Zoe Louise Hodgins.
May it please the Court, I move that Zoe Louise Hodgins be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Zoe Louise Hodgins be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
John James Ibrahim.
May it please the Court, I move that John James Ibrahim be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That John James Ibrahim be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Martin Strachan Imrie.
May it please the Court, I move that Martin Strachan Imrie be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Martin Strachan Imrie be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Nicole Sarah Westgarth Jackson.
May it please the Court, I move that Sarah Westgarth Jackson be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Nicole Sarah Westgarth Jackson be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Teresa Khoury.
May it please the Court, I move that Teresa Khoury be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Teresa Khoury be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Sukjin Ko.
May it please the Court, I move that Sukjin Ko be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Sukjin Ko be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Timothy Yangsun Lee.
May it please the Court, Timothy Youngsung Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this Honourable Court.
That Timothy Youngsung Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this Court.
Ryan Angel Machado.
May it please the Court, I move that Brian Angel Machado be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ryan Angel Machado be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emily Rosalind Dankworth Maker.
May it please the court, I move that Emily Rosalind Dankworth Maker be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emily Rosalind Dankworth Maker be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Luke Manjon.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Luke Manjon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Luke Manjon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexis Catherine McShane.
May it please the court, I move that Alexis Catherine McShane be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexis Catherine McShane be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James Alexander Miller Argue.
May it please the court, I move that James Alexander Miller Argue be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let James Alexander Miller Argue be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sean Narayan.
May it please the court, I move that Sean Narayan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sean Narayan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Elizabeth Newen.
May it please the court, I move that Elizabeth Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Elizabeth Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mintam Newen.
May it please the court, I move that Mintam Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mintam Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ben Luke O'Sullivan.
May it please the court, I move that Ben Luke O'Sullivan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ben Luke O'Sullivan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Francesco Giuseppe Primerano.
May it please the court, I move that Francesco Giuseppe Primerano be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Francesco Giuseppe Primerano be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Robert Sherrington.
May it please the court, I move that Robert Sherrington be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Robert Sherrington be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Eamon Scaff.
May it please the court, I move that Eamon Scaff be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Eamon Scaff be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amelia Grace Spratt.
May it please the court, I move that Amelia Grace Spratt be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amelia Grace Spratt be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Andrew George Thomas.
May it please the court, I move that Andrew George Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Andrew George Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Diana Elizabeth Thomas.
May it please the court, I move that Diana Elizabeth Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Diana Elizabeth Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Diane Tippett.
May it please the court, I move that Diane Tippett be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Diane Tippett be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brian James Whelan.
May it please the court, I move that Brian James Whelan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brian James Whelan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chu Yu Shao.
May it please the court, I move that Chu Yu Shao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chu Yu Shao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yiming Duan.
May it please the court, I move that Yiming Wan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yiming Wan be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Thank you, Registrar. Now that the formal moving of lawyers has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this virtual admission ceremony at the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today, to my right is Justice Maher and to my left Justice McCallum. Both their honours are members of the Court of Appeal. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather for this celebration, physically dispersed, I'd like to begin by recognising the various traditional lands on which we meet. The ceremony is streamed from the Supreme Court, which is located on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge these traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. To all the new lawyers watching today, welcome to the legal profession. This admission ceremony may be different to what you were expecting. These are challenging times when you are unable to be admitted in person. However, your admission conducted remotely reflects the agility and adaptability which you will need to possess as lawyers in an age of great change. This is a time for celebration, however. You have all worked extremely hard to get to this point, through caffeine-fuelled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbook and more cases than you can care to remember. You have entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood the Constitution consists of much more than the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admissions oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, that's how long it feels like you've been studying. For many of you, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable. No doubt they have also been off and on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath of affirmation you have made before this ceremony is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is acknowledgement of these weighty responsibilities that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers and our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. On a lighter note, on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. Regrettably, we were not. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything of the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the last year and a half, we've had to adapt quite a bit, as you see today. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure access to justice continues in the midst of a pandemic. Things don't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench can probably attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we are facing, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural and remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all the solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges in this court, and, for example, amongst barristers in speaking roles in the High Court of Australia. On the other hand, it is heartening to see the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we cannot afford to be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head-on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the judiciary and the ranks of senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession from people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year has again increased, is troubling. Not just this, but we will only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. You are in a unique position as new lawyers, who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment, or bullying within the profession, unfair laws, or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say, of course, there are only a handful of lawyer jokes, the rest are true stories. Jokes aside, however, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice and the other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum as a series of abstract concepts, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question, or for what purpose, or in what context the asking may occur." This is foundational to upholding the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your reading, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies, and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? I would suggest the answer to those questions is usually, probably invariably, no. The best advocates can make their points simply and succinctly. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could from time to time use that reminder. Don't pick up their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I'd not be surprised there are quite a few overachievers and perfectionists watching this live stream today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some perhaps more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, too many to remember. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. Now, even as Chief Justice, my decisions have, on occasions, been successfully appealed to the High Court. At that point, I'm probably obliged to simply grit my teeth and remind myself it's not a legal fiction that the High Court is infallible. Please don't forget that. Finally, I want to emphasise your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. I found that out through long experience. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case, and I lost many more after that, far more than I care to remember. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers on my floor to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. Now, I hasten to add, I don't include either of my fellow judges sitting with me on the bench today in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, can I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
Silence.